What is up and welcome back everyone. Today we're going to be doing something to prep for something that I've been saying we were going to do with the STi for a long time. We're going to go autocrossing with it. So ever since I bought this car, I said I'm going to go autocrossing with it or go take it on track day or whatever. Well, it's been 4 years now, and we're finally going to get to do that. So that means we do gotta prep a little bit for it and get the car ready because there is rules and regulations and so forth. But before we get into that, I'm actually going to quickly brief you guys on where I'm doing it and the class I'm going to be running in. So the autocross is a part of the Southern Alberta Solo Sports group, and that actually they run a championship event that goes across Alberta at different places. This one I'm going to is a little bit up north from us. It's in Airdrie. It's actually on a runway, which means these sticky R compound tires are going to grip up amazingly, which is going to be lots of fun. But that also means that with these tires, I would already be in street prepared. But because of the other modifications that we have to the car, I'm in street modified. As far as I know with the rules right now, that is because I put coilovers on. And they actually have, with coilovers, I believe you move up to street modified as you are modifying the suspension. Usually you could just change it out for parts, but if you're actually upgrading your suspension, you go into the next class. So that means I'm in street modified. It's referred to as the class where you haven't read the rule book and you kind of just put some mods on. That's kind of what happened to me. But I am also doing some other mods with this car that we'll talk about during here that will kind of help me a little bit in street modified. But because I am novice, I can actually run open for the first 2 years. So that's what we'll be doing. We'll be running novice just to get used to the track, get used to running the car a little bit. And then once we finish our 2 years, we can hopefully have a little more prep, be a little more prepared with the car and run a competitive street modified or maybe even something farther. Anyways, let's get to it. So if we go into the car now, the only real couple things that I'm thinking might be issues with the autocross rules is well, first I know that removing the radio puts you in street modified, which I mean, I'm already there, so it doesn't matter, is they don't want anything to be moving around in your car, well, obviously. So I don't know if that means access ports. This is solid, so we should be good here, but this needs to be taped down a little bit more. They definitely aren't going to let that fly. And then this I can put in the glove box, I'm pretty sure. I do have contacts for the people that run it, so I'm just going to ask them. And then what we'll do is we'll be putting a GoPro up on the back too, so you guys can see, or up on the front, I don't know, up here. So we'll have to figure that out during or before the autocross. And then one of the nice things about our roof rack we installed years ago is these keys. You turn these keys, this whole thing comes off. We're going to do that for autocross because, well, why do you need a roof rack? It's just more weight. And then if we head to the back of the car, there's a couple things. First of all, let's get rid of this water methanol kit. It's not tuned for it. It's just extra weight in the car. And they might actually look at that and be like, well, are you running it? So we're going to pull that out. And then the last thing is if we look at the rear diff back here, you can see that that is kind of held on with a wire. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some black tape around it just so that it looks like it's on there better than it is. And then we should be good to go. We can do a little shakedown drive and then I'm pretty sure we're good. Anyways, I removed that piece of wire because it doesn't really make any sense. And then I just took some Fantastic and wiped it. But as you can see, it's a little bit dirty. But I think that's all I'm going to do there. When we do our little shakedown drive, I'll make sure that I didn't bump the sensor and mess it up. But we should be good there. Now we get to work on this guy. So this guy shouldn't be too hard. So I think, pretty sure there's 4 bolts for this guy. This comes off, and then we have 2 big bolts on this guy, which I'll probably have to pop off this little fender liner for. And then we'll have this useless water methanol out. So there we go, we have both the pump, which is just a pump, and then the water methanol injector kit, and it all came out of the car. It was right in this area. Of course, he used self-tappers, as the previous owner always does, and just put it right through the floorboard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray some rust stuff there, and then just put a little bit of black tape so we don't get a bunch of water up there. But I was going to pull the wires, and I was trying to tug on them, and I couldn't get them out. But if we go into the car, what I did is I actually went ahead and just lifted this panel and then pulled these different color wires. Turns out he did attach them. He just used some extensions. So we are going to pull the wires out because weight reduction, yo. No more shoddy wiring down the whole side. Now we just got it running up into the dash, across the dash, into the controller I forgot about right here. So I don't know, I think I got to pull all the wire up from this guy. You know how car things go, where you're like taking one thing apart, take another thing apart, take another thing apart, eventually you got your whole interior ripped apart? Yeah, that's happened. So I went ahead and I was trying to find out this guy's wiring, and it turns out it's real shady. Or it's not real shady, I just don't know what he did exactly. So we got our cable out from the back, so this guy ran all the way to the back, so it's a nice long cable. We got a ground on here that needs to go, but that is it. But the thing is he wired up this, and this actually connects to my hazard lights. So I'm not sure why he's tapping into it. It's the green and the white. So if you guys know off the top of your head what that is, let me know. If not, I'll probably find out eventually. But what I'm gonna do is I think I'm just going to take these off, put some heat shrinking around them, and then take the ones that the guy put on off, heat shrink it, and put it back together, and we should be good to go. And we finally got all this mess gone. So there's our pile of weight reduction. Obviously it's not a ton of weight, but it's good just to get this useless wiring stuff out anyways. So this came out, really the big thing was getting that wire off the hazard lights. They did solder them together, so what I did is I just literally pulled the black tape back, yanked it off, and re-black taped it. So it's there, it's soldered, it will stay good until I end up doing, I don't know what I end up doing there, but probably maybe just heat wrapping it, but I'd have to cut it and resolder it, so didn't do that today. And then also there was the grounding plug. I just pulled that off. It was just on a bolt, and then the whole wire loom came off. Really, it's not a ton of wiring. And it was just getting it through all those little cracks and crevices under the car. But now it's time to go check out in here. So got to put this rail back down here, and then we got to go back in the car and put all this fun stuff back. So this dash piece is actually the cup holder, functioning. There's not a lot of cars with them, but we got a functioning one. And then here we'll end up we're going to tape this up. I was thinking about making a little plastic piece, if I can find a piece of plastic to just cover this, and then just leave this little part open. So the techs probably won't see all my mess of wiring, which is probably a good idea. So I'm going to see if I have any plastic. If not, we'll just end up double-siding taping this and we'll be good to go. But I'm going to find some plastic now. Probably like a year ago, we tried to build a splitter for the STi. Didn't work out, so we actually have the plastic from that. We have a lot of plastic from that. So I'm gonna cut a little piece of that so then we can put it into the center dash and go ahead and mount the actual controller right on there and just drill a hole for the wire. And we will have a little place to put our controller and a little place to put the control box. So I made myself a little cardboard template. Gonna trace this on the plastic, go get my jigsaw, cut it out, and then we'll see how far I'm off. Because I know this is actually a tiny bit too small, so I'm just gonna add a little bit extra, then we'll have to file it down, and hopefully it fits in pretty well. Check it out, there we go, we got our blanking plate all done. Oh, that's just a drip of water. So now we gotta cut a place for the actual controller, which goes down here, or the box that goes down here, and then we gotta drill a hole to put the wire through for the controller. So this is press fit really well actually. If we get really close, we can see there's a little bit of gap up there, but whatever. It's literally a blanket plate. It was better than the, what we had before. So we're going to go ahead and continue this. If my access part wasn't completely stuck here, I would maybe move it down there because that would be pretty cool right beside the control panel, but this is like held on with super glue, so I don't want to risk wrecking the actual dash and not having anything to put there. So we will now measure out the control box and then go ahead and cut that out. After a little bit of messing around, we got it to fit actually alright. As you can tell, it's not 100% perfect, but I mean, like, it's just a blanking plate. It's fine for now. But you can see these cuts right here? That's because when you use the jigsaw, it actually should be taped up or it makes those cuts. So it's got some scratches, but next thing is figuring out where our actual controller goes for the pod. So let's grab that from behind. If I can find it. Oh, it's not behind. It's right here. So this guy, we got to mount up. So I'm thinking right where that scratch is, just right dead center for now. And then if we get some gauges or something, we can always move it down or even remove this box and put it back and then put this down below. But I'm thinking I'm just going to put this dead center for now. So that means I got to mark a hole and then I got to figure out how big of a hole to put, not the remote through, because the remote's way too big, but the actual connector for the remote. So after cutting a pretty big hole in this, there we go. It's time to finally put it in. So what I'm gonna do is I put in the actual cable, but that's just because I don't want to take it out again. But I'm gonna put it in. Not put in this because we got to put just some spacers. I'm literally going to take washers and put them under this so that it sits level. But we're going to put this in, flush it up with the front, and then just put 4 corners of hot glue. So nothing too special, just something that could be removed if need be, but still strong enough to hold it in. So there we go. We got it all glued in and ready to go. I also made little spacers with just some cut up scrap, and it actually fits in pretty well. So what we're going to do is we're now going to double-sided tape this into place, and then we will be able to push everything back to where it belongs. It took a little more filing and it took a little more being a little crafty, but we got it all done. Check that out. So it's not perfect, as you can tell there's a gap there, but it looks so much cleaner than having my actual controller down below and then having this just sitting in the pocket and then seeing all the cables. I also kind of cable management. They're all in a loop now, so we can just go ahead and close that up once I put on this top section. And just like that, we have our blanking plate. So that blanking plate was actually pretty easy. It's not perfect, as I said, but it looks so much better than having the actual controller just moving around and seeing all those wires. You will see an edit. You have to watch to the end of the video to see the edit, because I was going to do it right now, but we still got a couple more things on the car, and I want to roll the car outside to get the light on it to do the edit. So don't worry, there will be a super smooth edit, but not quite yet. So I think the next thing is working on the bumper. So if we take a look at our bumper here, it's kind of falling apart. That's because, well, I didn't do a very good job of putting it back together when I was at the shop. Also, we will put in the STi grill. I do have an extra grill, but that's for another project, so you guys will have to stay tuned to see that, because I want to do something cool with the grill. But as you can see, this is falling out, so I gotta fix that. And if we look, it's kind of hard to see right in there, the actual piece or the trim is falling out, so we gotta also fix that. So I think that is our next thing, and then after that, I think we can go ahead, take off the rack, and do a little bit of a shakedown drive. Also during the shakedown, I also will be testing my GoPro mount. I lost my really good GoPro mount, so we won't be using that, but I will be still having a GoPro mount at autocross, just not 3. Also, they have to be pretty solid, so that's why we'll do our little shakedown and test. So I went ahead and fixed the bumper. It wasn't actually bad. It was really just this guy right here. I just had to pull it out, clip it back on the actual bumper itself, and then add a zip tie, and then make sure, it's gonna be really hard for you guys to see, but there's a little like vent here, and I need to make sure on both sides that it's not falling down like this one. I'm gonna have to put another zip tie in there, but that was just really the only issue with that. So really the last thing is to get this roof rack off. So what we gotta do is we just gotta pull these keys, and I think this comes out, and then the bars swing off of that, so it should be really easy. Also went ahead and put some rust converter, and I'm gonna prime these holes that the guy drilled, because... So I've never actually taken this off, so we'll see what happens. I've only put it on, and you guys can watch that video. It was a really old video. It's when we did the headliner, so it's quite a few years old, not days old. But yeah, these should, yep, these pop off, and then we should be able to just pull this up. Yeah, there we go. Exactly what I was thinking. So pop this guy off, and then we gotta go on the other side and pop the other ones off. And then just like that, we should be able to, yep, there we go. We can lift off our roof rack now. And there we go. And then once you have the rack off, I would maybe recommend having two people. That was harder than I was expecting, just because it's super awkward. Once you have that off, depending on what you have, so we put these landing pads on here, which is really nice because all you do is you take a plastic piece, if you can find them. I had to go searching forever, but these, you take these, yeah, slide it in there. Oh, come on. And there you go. It's got, you still have your mounting position for your rack, but, because these are solid on the car, but your rack is off and it doesn't look too bad. I wouldn't say it looks great to have these kind of just sitting off like that, but I mean, it looks better than having a rack, and it's a lot more aerodynamic than having a rack. So yeah, we'll do that on all of the other ones, and then we're pretty much good to go. Well, the car warms up. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go stick a GoPro, I think, back there. That is where I'm thinking, right there. There we go. We have a track-ready Subaru. I don't know about that, but we definitely have done some shakedown stuff today and tested out and seen if it's capable for autocross, and I think it is. So the things we did, I'll do a little recap, is we put in that new blinking plate, we checked our rear diff, made sure it wasn't leaking, and our sensor wasn't going to fall off, and then we also fixed the front bumper. I did that in like 10 minutes just because it was super simple. You know, zip tie tech. And then last but not least, we took off our roof rack because, well, you don't need it for autocross, but you do need it for cars. So I'll put it back on when we go biking and stuff, but we don't need it right now. Anyways, here, oh, I forgot about the last thing. We also removed the water methanol kit in the car. So there we go, it's all done and cleaned up. I have this laid back because I put some primer on there, so it's just going to dry and protect our coating and make sure, or protect our trunk. It's a protective coating on our trunk. And then once this dries, I'm going to put some Gorilla Tape on it because we don't want any holes technically in the cabin. That's not a safe thing. And then we'll go ahead and put this all back together. So yeah, that's also another thing we did was remove the water methanol kit. If anyone wants a water methanol kit, let me know. I'll sell it real cheap because it's got all the parts. It's just, well, not taken care of, I guess. The previous owner didn't really take care of it, so whatever. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. We're gonna end it here with all the stuff we did. It's getting late, sun's setting, so I gotta go in and do some work now, but I'm glad we got it done and we're ready for now autocross. Stay tuned. You guys won't want to miss the autocross video because that's going to be super fun. Probably going to hit some cones. Actually, I know I'm going to hit some cones. And also, we got some stuff going on with the grill down here. We want to do the new grill, but that's also something I'm going to be making a video about, so don't forget to miss out on that. And as always, peace out and stay humble.